Rivalry weekend is upon us. It's college football smothered and covered.
You are Locked On College Football, smothered and covered, with your host, Barrett Sallee. Your one-stop shop for everything college football. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into the Friday episode of College Football Smothered and Covered. My name is Barrett Sallee. Of course, you can follow me on all of social media at Barrett Sallee. 2 R's, 2 T's, 2 L's, and 2 E's. It is the Friday of Rivalry weekend. And of course, we've got a big weekend for you, big show for you. We'll talk a little bit about Thanksgiving, a fun little game that my colleagues over at SiriusXM put together. We'll also make SEC picks, and of course, it is time to shine. Today's show brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Okay, it is time to shine. Now, we all know what's happening in College Station, Texas. The game should be on Thanksgiving along with the Egg Bowl, but we'll allow it because Saturday night is going to be a massive, massive event in College Station, Texas. Now, we talked earlier in the week about the Texas quarterback situation, and look, we're not going to make sense of the Texas quarterback situation until the first snap on Saturday night. But we do know about the Texas A&M quarterback situation, and it's Marcel Reed reading the room. See what I did there? That's a play on words because it's on Marcel Reed. I don't care who starts for Texas, whether it's Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning or Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning, and then it does not matter. It's on Marcel Reed to dissect, to slice and dice this Texas defense, and I don't think anybody on the planet thought that this kid would be in this situation in such a big spot. I don't think Texas A&M fans even thought they could get to a point on rivalry weekend when they're playing for a spot at the SEC championship game, and certainly didn't think that it was the case when Connor Wegman went down. Marcel had to come in, then he got benched, and now here he is again with the weight of the Texas A&M fan base on his shoulders. Can he do it? Look, the guy went to Auburn last week and damn near won a football game. It was not his fault that the game ended in quadruple overtime. Everything that Texas A&M did right on that play was right, except, catching the football. A little bit of a problem there, but he can do it. He can handle the offense. He can handle the responsibility. He was in a do-or-die. Let's be honest. Last night at midnight, we suddenly realized that Texas A&M still has a chance to make it to the SEC championship game. They were playing that game as if it was a do-or-die situation. So, look, he's been here before. Texas really has not been in a position where it has to go to the SEC championship game. The difference is that, of course, Texas made the college football playoff last year. But it's on Reed. It's on the Texas A&M quarterback to distribute the ball. They've got good receivers out there. The Texas A&M's loaded with good receivers. He's got to spread the ball around. He did a good job of that after Auburn jumped up on him 21-0. Thought he did a great job. He was the biggest reason why they got back into that game, came back from a 21-0 deficit, took the lead. Like that, he was the reason. So it's on him. Reading the room, or we could say the eyes of Texas are upon you, but it's kind of cheesy and played out, and I even said it on SiriusXM because I'm lame, but reading the room. Time to shine. Also, the Ryan Day dilemma. I don't think anybody really expects Michigan to go in there and beat Ohio State. That's not going to happen. But Ryan Day better be careful because it doesn't even. Okay, let's just take an upset out of the equation. If there's an upset, then Ryan Day is on thin ice no matter what. But let's just say that Ohio State beats Michigan. It's not as clean as you'd like, but it's a win. It's the first time since 2019, and Ryan Day got that monkey off his back. Whatever. Let's just say that it's sloppy, and then Ohio State gets knocked out of the first round of the college football playoff, we're assuming after losing to Oregon. Where does that put Ryan Day? because he's in a situation now. We're in a new era in our sport, right? Where national championships theoretically mean everything. Conference championships are what coaches and players point to as sort of a tangible goal because the playoff is this sort of mythical creature. And rivalries are also part of the equation. And the interesting thing is that it changes by individual, right? Not by school, not by program, not by player. It's by the individual. A lot of those moneymakers, a lot of those donors at Ohio State, all they care about is beating Michigan. That's it. You don't beat Michigan, you don't stay employed. So if Ryan Day barely gets by a bad Michigan team, and then Ohio State gets tossed out of the playoff in the first round or whatever, people are going to be looking around going, is it all that we care about? Is Michigan, because we paid all this money to win a national championship, and yeah, beat a bad Michigan team, but we're kind of feeling left empty after the first round. Where do we go? Where do we do? What do we go from here? Do we go buy a better class? Do we go buy a better roster? Is it worth the investment? So that's the Ryan Day dilemma. It's Ryan Day's time to shine. He needs to put the hammer down and hang a 50 burger on this Michigan team. He needs to make it known that he's here for the long haul, and that streak that was built in large part by Jim Harbaugh is a thing of the past, and that moving forward, Ohio State is the big dog in that rivalry. Because think about this. Could Ohio State be in a situation where now Ryan Day might be on the hot seat even after making the playoff? Yeah, I mean, I think Ohio State could be the first team that has the decision to make about whether to retain a coach even after making consistent playoff appearances, because just getting tossed out earlier, not getting the job done is not what Ohio State is supposed to do. That's not why he's brought there. That's not why they're spending all this money. So it's going to be fascinating. Last thing, time to shine. Thorne in Alabama's side. Thorne with an E. Because as we saw last week, Payton Thorne, actually kind of a good quarterback when he's got help from Keandre Lambert-Smith and Cam Coleman. And this is a beaten down Alabama team. This is an Alabama team that, we talked about this on the show all year long. They look distracted. They have a lack of discipline. They look like they're uninterested, which last weekend was, I think, a big reason why they lost that game. It was embarrassing. This is an Alabama team that is ripe for the picking. And this is an Auburn team that's peaking at the right time. And why is that? Well, it's because Payton Thorne has found a connection with his freshman and Cam Coleman. It has opened everything up for the rest of the receivers, specifically Lambert-Smith and Malcolm Simmons. And that has balanced out the offense. That Auburn team, we said this a lot, that Auburn team was the best bad team we've had in this sport in a long time, middle of the season, because they were doing everything right except taking care of the football. Well, bam, look what happens when you take care of the football. You become a pretty darn good football team. And Payton Thorne should scare the daylights out of Alabama fans, not because he's a great quarterback, but because he's good enough and he's got the hot hand. And Alabama's sitting there downtrodden, ripe for the picking. Could Payton Thorne be the thorn in Alabama's side? Could be. Better watch out, Alabama fans, because he could be coming. We'll take a break. Come back. SEC picks on the other side. It's college football smothered and covered, powered by Locked On. Today's show brought to you by our good friends at Game Time. You want a ticket? You want a ticket anywhere? Use Game Time. Download the Game Time app. They have tickets to sporting events. They have tickets to concerts. Everything right there on the Game Time app. All you got to do is download the app. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. That's right. Use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $20 off your first purchase. What time is it? It's game time. Today's show also brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel. You know what? It's holiday weekend. Got games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all kinds of games. You know what you need? You need the FanDuel app. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. And you know what I love about FanDuel is that everything is right there waiting for you when you make a bet. If you bet $5 and that bet hits, you get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's right. One $5 bet, your first one. If you win it, you get $150 in bonus bets from FanDuel. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, how many of you have hunches in the middle of a game? Like that awful Dallas, New York game on Thanksgiving when offense was laughable. It was more of a theory than something that was actually put into practice. But maybe you thought things might change in the second half. Maybe you thought Kevontae Turpin might do something. You know what? You can see all of that on FanDuel. Live play-by-play stats right there on the same page where you place your bets. Visit FanDuel.com today. FanDuel.com today. That's right. Your first $5 bet gets you $150 in bonus bets. Guaranteed. If you win, that's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, SEC picks. I'm going to go ahead and put these on the screen. The record is not that great against the spread, not really that great straight up either. But we're going to make things better. We're going to make things right on Rivalry weekend. We'll start with the first two, the Friday afternoon matchups, Mississippi State at Ole Miss. I'll grab those 26 points. Ole Miss wins that one outright, but 26 points is a lot. We've seen crazy, weird things happen in the Egg Bowl. That's why we love watching the Egg Bowl. It should have been on Thursday night. It should always be on Thanksgiving. Of course, I understand the NFL has taken over Thursday, so it gets relegated to the middle of the day on Friday. But that still does not change the fact that weird things always happen. So give me Ole Miss to win, but I'll take Mississippi State to cover that massive 26 spread. Georgia Tech, the game that I will be covering in Athens. Georgia Tech, 19.5-point favorites. I'll take Georgia to win, but I will take Georgia Tech to cover that 19.5. I think the dirty little secret, I'm not saying this because I've seen Georgia Tech. This will be the third time I've seen them this year. That's a pretty good football team. They know who they are. They execute. They have a great offensive line. I know that's going to be tested against Georgia. That's fine. But they've really settled in to a nice system with Philo as the passing quarterback and Haynes King doing what he's always been able to do on the ground. What's beautiful about that offense is that when Haynes King comes in, everybody knows what's happening. It just doesn't matter because they executed so well. And that's because they've taken on the identity of their head coach, Brent Key. They're tough. They're hard-nosed. They get the job done in terms of covering. It'll be a 4-quarter battle. Ultimately, Georgia will get the win, but it'll be a fun one in clean, old-fashioned hate. We're going to take Tennessee minus the 10.5 at Vanderbilt. I'm not going to give you a breakdown of that one because, quite honestly, who needs a breakdown of Tennessee at Vanderbilt? Tennessee's going to run the score up, though, because they feel like they need style points, even though they don't. South Carolina plus 2.5 at Clemson. This is a very, very big game. It's not just for bragging rights, obviously, but both of these teams still have playoff hopes. Now, for Clemson, it really is just win the ACC championship game and you're in. So this one doesn't really matter in terms of that. But also, they are the first one out. So having that at-large sort of piece out there, that trophy dangling, you might want to put up some style points against South Carolina. And now South Carolina has a chance to make the college football playoff. Yes, there would be a lot of dominoes that have to fall, like Maryland beating Penn State, Purdue beating Indiana, and Tech beating Georgia, and my hair suddenly growing back, which we know is not going to happen. But a lot of things need to happen. Nevertheless, South Carolina is the hottest team in the country. I fully anticipate Lenore Sellers and Rocket Sanders to come out firing in that game. I'll take the Gamecocks. I know it's in Death Valley. I do not care. I think they win that one outright. Shane Beamer wants to make a statement not only to the state, to the SEC, but to the college football world that this is not a fluke, and they will be something to a team to reckon with moving forward. So South Carolina, take the points. You won't need them. They win that game outright. Louisville's going to cover the 4 against Kentucky. That one will be no contest. Auburn and Alabama. The Tide 11.5 point favorites over the Tigers. Take Auburn to cover. Alabama's going to win. Take Auburn to cover. That is a pretty good football team. They're peaking at the right time. We talked about this last segment, and I think Alabama's mentally checked out. The lack of effort, especially on some of those key plays, some of those interceptions that Milroe threw, the lack of effort was disgusting. It was sad. It was embarrassing. And this is kind of one of those moments where, okay, if you can't get up for a game in which you have to win to make the college football playoff and you look that sloppy, is it going to change when you're vying for your state title? I don't think it will. And Auburn, I know right now, they're feeling it. There's been some trash talk this week. I love it. Be confident. Be happy. It's fun, man. This game's supposed to be fun. And if you're Auburn, you want to assert yourselves as the dominant team. Now you got to show it on Saturday. But they're talking the talk, and I think they can walk the walk, at least make it close. So I'll take the Tigers to cover. Give me Alabama to win, but I think it'll be close. Arkansas at Missouri, don't really care. I know Missouri fans hate me, but whatever. Missouri's going to cover those three. Save your tweets. Florida and Florida State. Florida, look, I'll be honest. My brother-in-law is a Florida fan. He was up here at the lake celebrating Thanksgiving with us, and he thought I'd kind of lost my mind because I didn't think Florida would cover. It's 14.5, guys. It's 14.5. It's a rivalry game. Everybody's going to play conservative. And if it's 14.5, that screams backdoor cover for the Seminoles. I don't think Florida State's going to have much of a chance. I don't even think they're going to control the game all that much. It might get sideways by halftime. Billy knows that. Billy's not going to take a chance and screw this up. He's going to throttle down. And if Florida State scores a garbage touchdown to cover, fine. I think that's much more likely to happen. So I'll take Florida to win. I'll take Florida State and those points. Oklahoma +6 at LSU. Win them. Take them outright. Take the points. You won't need them. Oklahoma's going to win that game outright. That defense is next level good. I think LSU, that train has derailed in a big, bad, tragic way. Even against Vanderbilt last week, they did not look sharp. I think they have completely lost their identity offensively. I think right now you're looking at an Oklahoma team, an Oklahoma defense that is feeling themselves. They understand, hey, you know what? We can go to battle with the best of the best and take them down. Well, LSU's not the best of the best. In fact, they're below average. So I fully anticipate this to be a low-scoring, ugly, somewhat nasty football game. But I trust Oklahoma's defense. Of all the units in this game, Oklahoma's defense more than any other unit in this game. Now, last one. You've probably already seen it because I flashed this graphic up 1,000 times already. But we will take Texas minus the 5. At Texas A&M, the Longhorns will move on to the SEC championship game to play Georgia. Why? Well, I think first things first, I have no idea how A&M can come back from what happened last week. Mentally, if you're in a situation where you go through 4 hours, 60 minutes of game time, thinking you have to win to keep your SEC championship hopes alive, and they fall apart in tragic fashion, that takes a lot out of you. Now, later on that night, we found out, yeah, you know what? You still have your hopes. But they didn't know that at the time. Nobody knew that at the time. So that's going to take a lot to overcome. Now, with Texas, I know there's the quarterback situation with Quinn and with Arch and whatever. This is a running football team. This is a run-first football team. They work off of that. They work off of it very well. They've got Golden. They've got Bond. They've got a lot of receivers that have been the guy this year, right? At any given time. So they understand, hey, you know what? If one option is taken away, there are 3 other receivers out here that we can use to take the top off of defense. That is after Wisner and Blue have set the tone. It's a complete football team. The ceiling's not very high, but the floor is. Whereas I think with Texas A&M, the ceiling's not very high, and the floor is a freaking canyon. I know it's at home, and Kyle Field's raucous. A&M fans, I feel you. I know. I've been there. It's fun. Nothing that Texas sees at Kyle Field's going to scare them. It's not going to surprise them. They've seen all of this. They understand what it's like to go into a hostile environment with everything on the line. So whether it's Quinn or Arch, I don't really care. I don't really care at all. I think this is a 7-point game, maybe a 10-point game. I think Texas gets the job done. And ultimately, we'll get to the college football playoff. We'll essentially seal it up against Texas A&M, no matter what happens in the SEC championship game. We'll take a break. When we come back, a little fun from my friends at SiriusXM coming up on the other side. It's college football smothered and covered, powered by Locked On. Today's show, again, brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, and you will get $20 off your first purchase. I've said this story a couple shows ago. Late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. Grew up in a family of Auburn fans. All my family are Auburn fans. We're sitting there going, the Iron Bowl might be fun. Now, I'm covering Georgia Tech, so I'm not going to be able to go. But, that might be kind of fun to go to the Iron Bowl, they said. Well, we looked it up on Game Time, and they were there. We could have bought them one tap. No questions asked. There are no hidden fees. It was great. I saw tickets that they were, $250? Okay, I know they're $250. I'm not going to buy that ticket and suddenly have $325 to dole out like some of these other companies. Game Time gives you all in pricing, and that's what I love about them. Download the Game Time app. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. So time is it. It's game time. Today's show also brought to you by FanDuel. $5. Your first $5 bet gets you $150 in bonus bets guaranteed if that $5 bet hits. That's right. One $5 bet gets you $150 in bonus bets guaranteed if you are successful. The great thing about FanDuel, guys, is that right there on the app, you can see live play-by-play stats, everything right there where you place your bet. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you don't got to go anywhere. You can just tap it right there on that page. Go to FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com. First $5 bet gets you $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. Never waste a hunch and make every moment count with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Okay, so my friends at SiriusXM put this together. There are 4 Thanksgiving tables. You get to pick which table to sit at. And I am at the table with Jake Butt, Anthony Herron, Rick Neuheisel, Chris Childers, Matt Schick, and my radio life partner, Tom Luganville. All of you who tuned in, all of you who responded and said, I don't want to be at table 2, you're insane. We would have all kinds of fun, mostly because Schick is there. And that dude's awesome. But why would you not want to be with me and Lugs? And we know we'd pile on Childers. We'd always pile on Childers. It's a great table. It's a great. Who are you? Why are you wanting to sit next to Jimbo Fisher? Who wants to sit next to Jimbo? You do get to sit next to Dari if you're at that table, but still, and Dari's awesome. But still, how anybody would not pick number 2 is beyond me. But you can see that graphic on the screen right now. And if you're listening or watching, you can check it out on X. Friends at SiriusXM put together four Thanksgiving tables for you to choose from for Thanksgiving. Or speaking of Thanksgiving, I really appreciate all of you guys. This is the reboot of this show. We started back in February, picking up where SEC Smothered and Covered left off back in 2018. The support has been fantastic. I really appreciate all of you making this your first listen every single day, sharing the show, writing a review, all of that stuff. I really do appreciate it. I love the fact that we're on the internet right now. I can talk to you guys. You can talk to me. It's like one giant sports bar. It's great because we're all fans. We all enjoy the sport of college football, and luckily with shows like this and others around the Locked On Network and beyond, we can interact with you in a variety of different ways. So from the bottom of my heart, I really do thank you guys for listening. I know I say it every episode, but I really do mean it, especially on this Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Hey, if you want to join the subtext, Link is below. Go ahead and do that. I will send out pictures and fun stuff from the game in Athens between the Yellow Jackets and Bulldogs tomorrow. Enjoy Rivalry Weekend, everybody. It's the best weekend of the year. We will talk to you when it wraps up on Saturday night. And you know what? We'll have a full week of SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Mountain West, all the Group of Five, all those conference championship games will have you covered right here on College Football. Smothered and Covered.